I've titled this video the way I have for a couple of reasons. Hopefully I'll avoid any over, knee-jerk reaction kind of censorship that might happen. It might still be, I don't know, we'll find out. You'll know by the time you're watching this. Also, I tried to avoid it appealing to the people who just want to talk about getting high all the time. They'll probably still be in the comments. Again, we'll find out in the future, shall we? But CBPMs are cannabis products for medical use. Now, a bit of background. In this country, we can have CBD vape, gummies, whatever. CBD's fine, because it's not the psychoactive component of cannabis. That's where THC comes in. That's the stuff that gives you the high, sometimes the Alice in Wonderland feelings that some people report. I've had it myself in the past. And it's also, from what we can tell, possibly good in pain management, and much better than certain over-the-counter stuff. However, again, the legality comes into effect. If I was to just go and, roll up a joint, smoke that in public, even as pain relief, then there would be criminal proceedings from that. Now, obviously, if it's just a small amount, a lot will just confiscate and, let you go on your way. But if it's repeated or you've got a lot, then obviously it becomes a lot worse. That's the same everywhere, pretty much. But there are circumstances in this country where you could have full cannabis, effectively. You can have THC and CBD under prescription from a specialist who's on a registration for specialist doctors. And in this country, under the NHS, there are very specific guidelines, and there's very specific conditions that tend to get it. Most of the others that don't succeed in a lot of cases. Those kind of conditions are like treatment-resistant epilepsy and things like that. It's these really life-inhibiting conditions. Now, anything that really affects your functioning, you would argue, is a life-inhibiting condition, but they've got to, follow the guidelines. It isn't, the cheapest thing, because we've still got the issues of some of it has to be done abroad and all that kind of stuff. However, when I was looking into stuff, I tried something that was, quite strong, and I was like, I don't feel pain. I don't feel much right now. I feel good. And I was like, maybe this is something I need to pursue. So a while back, I looked into Sapphire Medical, who were one of the main sort of big ones in this country, who have a wonderful thing called the Sapphire Access Scheme. Because normally a consultation will be upwards of £100. But if you're in this scheme, which involves you doing regular questionnaires so that they have evidence of the therapeutic benefits, and you get a much reduced fee. That's brilliant. And all of their process is done over here. It's all, not necessarily all in-house 100%, but it's a lot more controlled. They are pretty much involved from start to finish. And from my experience, their doctors are really friendly and easy to speak to. Some people don't feel they're getting the money's worth. If you've booked an appointment and it's literally 5 minutes of, if you want it, we'll give it you, or are you getting on fine, we'll authorise more. But to me, that is getting my money's worth, because I'm getting what I wanted out of it. I'm not paying to have half an hour of a doctor's time, or 20 minutes, I think their appointments are. I'm paying for getting, continuing my prescription or whatever it may be. So from the 1st of November, I remember it arrived around then, I've been on a 20 milligram THC to 10 CBD oil. I take, as it is now, 0.25 mil in the morning and the same again at night. And it's been a long while since I've had to take any codeine, which is something that I was very mindful of. A long time ago, I went to the doctor saying I can't just keep popping codeine every time I'm in pain. Opioid epidemic, anyone? So I wanted to look at alternatives, and I was prescribed gabapentin, and I've gone up to a level with that, but I still think I'd probably benefit from more, but I found a little bit of resistance. Our doctors are normally pretty great, but I did find a bit of resistance. It was like, well, just add one in extra when you want, but I don't know when I wake up in the morning how I'm going to feel midway through the day. I have to have a dosette box, because otherwise I'd forget. I can't put the extra dose in to the dosette box, especially because I have a week one. So from today, I don't know what I'm going to feel like on Tuesday of next week. So I can't plan it, and then I've got to go, I've got to hunt it out, and then I'm going to be like, why is this a weird number? So I wanted to look at alternatives, and when I originally, did all the pre-screening and everything like that, all the questionnaires, I was like, it might not happen. And I was more just doing it to see if it would be justifiable. And then I was offered it, and I was like, okay, yes, I will. I have it from a source who, of course, I will not name, obvious reasons, that what I'm paying is less than half of what the uncontrolled street value would be. I'm making a saving by not getting it through illegal means, which wasn't the case before companies like Sapphire. So that's also good, the cost element. Now, I am on the oils, like I say, and they're fine. They're working well for me for the most part. And the only thing that I really don't like is I'm trying to lose weight, but I do get the munchies. Although one of the side effects they said might have been appetite suppression, but I've always been a bit weird. So that's one thing that's, a bit annoying, but putting on a bit of weight and not being in pain, I know which one I prefer. I did ask during my last consult as to why I wasn't offered vaporizing, because you still shouldn't smoke, even if you get the dried flower. You can get a vaporizer. You might have seen them around. It's got herb grinder in there. It's a controlled dose, because obviously smoking it is a controlled dose, and that's why you can't do it, amongst other reasons. But I did ask about it, and it was like, well, that's more for flare-ups, if you need sort of extra during the day. And, it was offered. It's like, well, we can put that on there as well. I was like, well, I'll leave it for now. And then when it comes to my next, follow-up and what have you, I think, because sometimes during, middle of the day, right in the middle spot between doses a lot of the time, I'm starting to feel the pain kind of creeping back sometimes. Now, that might mean I might need to up my dosage, but, I think something like a vaporization top-up during the day would be good for me. I'd be quite happy with that. It's really good. I think if you've got conditions, like fibromyalgia like I've got joint hypermobility, but also psychiatric conditions, anxiety, things like that, there is evidence that in the right quantities, I'm not saying the 2010 will be great for everyone with my conditions, and I'm not saying it'll be great for people with some of the psychiatric conditions. In fact, it might be better the other way around, perhaps, but I don't know. I haven't done the research. But from my anecdotal experience, that is all it is. I know it's my own personal life. That's all I've really used. But from my experience, I'm a lot better on it than I wasn't. I'm a lot better on it than I was before I had it, should I say. I do think if it's something that you think might be useful for you and you can afford it, unfortunately at the moment, go for it. I really do think it's worthwhile. I'm not sponsored to do this. This is entirely on me. I'm not big enough to get sponsorships yet. But that said, Sapphire, if you ever want to pay me or reduce my costs, because if I get you repeat business, I think I should be rewarded, drop me an email. You've got it on file. But yeah, seriously, if you're thinking about it, have a look, go through the questionnaires. They're not just going to give it to everyone because they've got to justify it as part of their job role. They've got to look at the costs and benefits for you, not the cost financially, but what, the side effects, could that trigger something bad in you? But yeah, go through it, see what happens, and, if it helps your life, spread the word like I've done. So that's all I really want to say about my personal experience of CBPMs. I would have to think about the correct order of the letters. But I hope you found it enlightening, and if you have, like I say, spread the word, have a look into it. But until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.